let's kick part 2 off with a bit of Jedi chat, which is obviously in this world where the Jedi are at their peak.
Yes,
there are many Jedi, and we get introduced to quite a few. I don't know how you felt, but there was a couple that we got introduced to fairly early on that, to me, obviously they have a certain manner because they're supposed to be without attachment.
Yeah.
But there were a couple where it felt like they were less without attachment and more like they were just Vulcans.
Right.
There's a couple. So Master Yordfander, who's this sort of youngest, but the one who's got a Padawan, the first one who goes to investigate. Freshly minted knight, who was Osha's counterpart when they were coming up as Padawans. And Venestra as well, who's the green bald lady.
Yeah.
They're a bit, I don't know, just a bit emotionless.
Yeah. I guess, that kind of sets it apart from stuff we've seen later.
Yeah.
Where if you think of, even Obi-Wan is an emotional guy, isn't he? And it's
Indeed.
This is meant to be the golden age of the Jedi, but it also means it's the golden age of their hubris and stoicism and just autocracy and so on.
But it was quite heartwarming to see Master Soul, because Master Soul was, I mean, he's got a soul.
He has,
He's got a soul.
Very well named, aptly named. Yeah, also Soul meaning sun. So is he going to be the light that shines upon us, gives us warmth?
Oh, indeed. So wise.
Go to another level on that.
So wise.
But it feels a little like everything made. If you think about what we knew of Jedi in our original trilogy years.
Yeah.
So very little, just kind of myths, stories, legends. We only ever see these really old Jedi who keep passing away because Luke goes and visits them and they die.
Yes.
It seems like
he's coming again. Get a coffin ready.
That's it. Yeah.
Actually, no. Sorry, we don't need one. We just disappear.
That's it. Just scoop my clothes up when I'm gone.
Someone dispose of the clothes, please.
That's basically it. That's all we really know about the Jedi. And then it feels like everything made post Return of the Jedi is obsessed with undoing those myths and kind of shitting all over that romantic view of them as the wise peacekeepers of their time. We saw that a bit in the prequels, where it's eventually they're blind. They're so kind of wrapped up in themselves they fail to see the rising dark side and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And we see how their sort of laws, like you're saying, around attachment and so on. I mean, they don't actually say celibacy, but it's sort of implied, isn't it?
Yeah.
How funny enough, that doesn't turn out to produce well-rounded, good human beings or aliens of any kind, really.
Well, we've mentioned before about parallels with real-life examples, but yes.
Exactly. So this seems to be kind of going down that. I mean, I was thinking this was going to show, like we said, the Jedi in their prime, like the peak of their powers and the Order and everything. But already, like you're saying, we're sort of just seeing how they're kind of just snobbish, naive dickheads, really.
Naive dickheads.
No real right to be in charge of anything, never mind the whole galaxy.
It's interesting as well, the one of the things that comes at the beginning of this when Master Indara first goes into combat with May, is that she reports quickly. We don't know who she's reporting to. She's shouting back to someone, and we'll get onto that in a second. A couple of the guys who I don't know what they are, whether they're wardens or something that they meet at one of the Jedi outposts.
Yeah,
but she says, unidentified Force user, whatever else, and then
that's right. Yeah,
there's not really, but then there's no sort of mention of anything other than Jedi. It's basically you're a Jedi or you're an unidentified Force user.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're either one of us or you're just a unknown. You're a renegade. Yeah.
Only the Sith deal in absolutes.
Well, exactly, and that's where I'm hoping this series is going to be a bit smarter with it, and not just black and white again. Jedi good, everyone else using the Force must be bad. Show us a bit more of those shades of grey. you know, that middle ground of people. And I'm hoping that this series is going to be a bit cleverer about that.
Well, we see, don't we, when she goes to see, is it Master Torben? And obviously he's obviously carrying something with him. He thinks he's done something, which I'm sure we'll get into our kind of what next, what might be coming up stuff, but I think we'll get some reveals about what actually happened to May and Osha when they were younger. But
because he apologises, doesn't he?
He does.
Sorry for what happened,
and then basically commit suicide.
Yeah, I'm just going to neck this green bunta juice, whatever it's called, and
bunta juice.
Shed my mortal coil.
Indeed, despite the fact that I don't know how he's been in that state for 10 years.
Yeah,
just floating in midair, not talking to anyone.
Yeah, presumably eating and drinking and shitting somehow. I don't think the Force can compensate for those, can they?
Maybe he just ingests it through. He can manipulate food and stuff and just inhale it through his nose.
Yeah, maybe.
And then he can secrete.
Force throws his turds into from across the.
Oh, dear.
You got to think about that. 10 years.
10 years. It's a lot of shit, isn't it?
It's a lot of shit.
It's a lot of shit.
Where's it all going, Torben? Come on.
Indeed.
Where's the shit?
Burning a lot of mental calories, so he's got to do something.
Yeah, the focus to stay floating or whatever.
Torben, do you know who the actor was who played Torben?
I could. But
don't look.
You can tell me.
Do not look at him. Don't look it up.
Don't look it up.
Dean Charles Chapman. Dean Charles Chapman. Who was King Tommen in Game of Thrones?
Oh, wow. Blimey. He's grown up, isn't he?
He has grown up. I suppose it's probably about 10 years since he was King Tommen.
Yeah. Well,
is that how long ago Game of Thrones was?
Well, it depends on the series, I guess.
It finished 5 years ago?
So that long?
6 years ago?
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I feel like it finished in at least 2000.
Where's the fucking book, George R.R.R. Martin?
Well, maybe it's 2020. I don't know. Game of Thrones. Oh my god. So he was last in Game of Thrones in 2016.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking 8 years. 8 years since we saw him as King Tommen when he was probably mid-teens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's early 20s. I think he's obviously made up in this to look a lot. He looks like a middle-aged man.
And actually, I did think the makeup was a bit naff because he looks like an aged-up younger person.
Yeah, maybe. It finished in 2019, by the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But alas, let's pivot back to what we were talking about.
Yes.
But anyway, so his character clearly got past, clearly done something he felt was wrong.
Yeah.
And not as perfect as it could have been. Talking of Jedi not being as perfect as perhaps we're led to believe they are in other parts of Star Wars. I got the sense there was like a odd bit of competitiveness between some of the younger Jedi Knights, not Masters, not Padawans, but in between. I don't know. It didn't sit particularly well. There's that bit where they're being asked about how they should proceed with their investigation, and you get Jecki and Yord. Yeah. And immediately, Yord steps forward. He's like, "We should do this, 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 and this, and this." And Jecki's like, "Well, or dickhead, we could do we could do this.
We could send the exact twin in pretending to be the bad one.
We've got someone who looks exactly like them. Why don't we fucking use them?"
Exactly. But she's only a Padawan, though, isn't she? So that
no, she's not. Jecki's not a Padawan. She's a Jedi Knight.
Oh no, I'm mixing him up with because
the girl with the massive
did
ears.
have we did see Yord's Padawan at the start, didn't we? But yeah, that's right. Yeah. Apologies.
When he was being all blunt and emotionless and Vulcan-like.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, there definitely was a bit of competitiveness.
Indeed.
In there, but I guess that's got to be fairly normal in some kind of in an organisation where there's very distinct layers of.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy, that's the word I'm trying to think of.
That's the word you're looking for.
You got it. That's the word I want. Yeah. There's always going to be that.
Indeed.
But I actually really liked Jecki or Jecki's character. I thought she was really good. And just to extend on that, a lot of good British accents and actors. I noticed in this.
Indeed. Such as?
Well, the one that particularly interested me, for shits and giggles, we got to see a slightly tubbier Jedi, didn't we?
Well, this is
Played
what
by
I was going to
Ed
say.
Keir.
Those two guys, do you think they're Jedi? Or do you think they're just like, because they don't come across as Jedi. They come across as just, are they like basically, they're like page boys?
Page. I think there's something like that because he is credited as an Olega Padawan.
Olega Padawan.
Olega's, I think, is the planet.
The guy he's with, played by a guy called Nick Core, and he's Olega Master.
Yeah, so it's almost like they're regional guys.
And there's another one who's an Olega Urchin.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, you know...
Actually, unless... Oh, no, hang on.
What?
Unless Olega is just the planet they're on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So what?
At one point, the titles say Olega Local Jedi Temple or something like that.
You pay for... I must have looked out the window
I
at that
wrote
point
it
or
down.
something. Oh, my God. I've watched it twice as well. Oh, dear me. I see what you mean now. I see what you mean. So he is a master.
Yeah. Well, Ed Keir is Olega Padawan.
A
So I
Padawan.
think that's like you're a regional Padawan. You're not
Yeah.
you're not a headquarters Padawan.
Oh, I see. Which is why they dress in brown.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
But I mean, he's a great character, and he's a great comedic actor that's in a lot of good sitcoms and other movies and things. I really enjoyed seeing him. Sometimes when you see people like that are so recognisable, it can have the effect of sort of taking you out of the moment a bit.
Like
can't
Jack
it?
Black.
Exactly like Jack Black. Perfect example.
Talking about the banter in the room.
Yeah, perfect example of that, and the dialogue as well. But I think it kind of worked in this. I liked seeing him there. And
I have to say, I'm not wishing to fat shame anyone.
Oh,
But when I saw him, I was like, oh, he doesn't look like someone who's following a strict exercise regime.
maybe you should leave your toxic preconceptions
I
about
know,
what a Padawan should be.
I know. I have
Different species of different metabolisms.
different shapes and sizes.
It takes all sorts.
It does.
It means there's hope for me in becoming a Jedi myself. That's what I take from that.
Indeed.
If he can do it, I can. So it's an empowering message.
If you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
Anyway, how do we get
was
onto
good.
him? How do we get onto him?
We're just talking about Jedi, aren't we?
Yeah, he's the two I was talking about. Those are the two I was mentioning earlier when I was like, are they Jedi or are they not Jedi? But you have cleared this up for me by looking at the credits.
Exactly. Well, I learned that from you.
Which is helpful. I mean,
Yeah,
I've not followed my own advice here, have I?
No.
I see. Lightsabers.
Yes.
You got any opinions on the lightsabers in this?
I think there's going to be more interesting stuff to come on that based on what we've seen elsewhere. So I wasn't sure if we were going to see the whips and shit in this, but
The whips and shit
have not come to light yet.
Well, just quickly, I was thinking more in terms of like, and maybe you're thinking of those lines, visuals, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just a bit of a purist and a traditionalist on this, but
You are.
I feel like there's only 3 colours of lightsaber that we need to see.
Yeah.
And orange is not one of them.
No. It did look kind of cool, though.
It does look kind of cool, but
I'll be honest.
problem I've got with these things now is because we know about that there are some very good lightsaber manufacturers out there,
Yes.
and we know what these things look like. I don't know. I can't help but I feel like the best special effects for lightsabers
Yeah.
are still the original trilogy.
Yeah.
These now, I look at them and I'm like, you're carrying around a stick with a light bulb in it.
Yeah.
And that's
it's a good point.
It's not necessarily their fault, but I'm like, it looks like you're carrying it doesn't look like something that's glowing. I made some notes on this. So basically I said like, it feels like a light bulb. It doesn't feel like a beam of light.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah. And I think it's, and I remember reading an interview with Alec, oh fucking hell, Ewan McGregor, after doing the recent Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and he was saying that exact same thing. They now use essentially like my lightsaber, basically, and then they just do a bit of a CGI touch up of it in post production. But actually, for filming, it's pretty much what you see is what's there. And he doesn't like it because in the prequels, it was a proper metal rod that you could proper go at it, and then they just, special effect the hell out of it afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think it does suffer visually as a result of that change. So I agree with you, but it didn't hamper my enjoyment of it in this because we didn't see too much lightsaber action.
No.
I think if we see an actual lightsaber duel, you'll notice it a lot more.
Indeed. But there's, it was interesting as well, the going back to the stuff at the start with Carrie-Anne Moss and Master Indara. Is it that scene where May references the whole a Jedi only draws their lightsaber when prepared to kill?
Yes, she does say that.
She does.
That's interesting. But she kept trying to grab her lightsaber as well, didn't she?
Yeah, she does it to when she fights Sol as well.
Yeah. It's like she desperately wants to get her hands on one, but...
Indeed.
Yeah, or she's just trying to disarm them, I suppose.
Possibly. I don't know. But in terms of stuff she does use, or manage to use, what do you reckon the chemist's story is, or the apothecary's story is?
That was an odd bit of plot, I thought. Like, he's travelling with her, but he's just sort of taken over someone else's chemists, and he's just manufacturing poisons there, and I didn't really get that.
But there's one bit where he either gives a hint to who he might be, that he might be something more than just a potion maker.
Yeah.
Or it's just a bit sloppy storytelling where, when they kind of meet in the alleyway and May's like ready to kill him because he's giving her dodges. Up. But he manages to deal with
her attack.
He manages to deal with her basically when she's been going toe to toe with Jedi's previously.
Yeah.
Is he got some powers, or is he just...
I wouldn't rule out sloppy storytelling, if I'm honest. But interesting thought, and he did seem to handle himself too well, and he was able to tell that that Osho wasn't May quite quickly as well.
Yes,
you don't know if that was using some powers or there was just a dead giveaway. Because I think May's got some sort of tattoo thing on her head under some of her dreadlocks, I think. So I don't know if it was something like that, or like you say, is there more to him as a character?
Possibly.
But it looks like he's going to be around for a bit, because he's also suggested, I know how to get out of here. I know somewhere we can go. Looking for a Wookiee Jedi, actually, he says. So we get a little sneak peek at that, don't we?
Yeah, we'll see. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? I don't know. You
don't know.
I think all in all, if we give a little bit of unless you've got anything desperate to say about anything else, I'm happy to summarise the first 2 episodes as promising and okay. Basically,
yeah. I did just want to give a minute to talking about sets and locations and things.
No, I would apologise there, listeners. Right. I was supposed to lead Steph onto that. I got far too carried away talking about what I wanted to say.
It's fine.
Don't sets. Worry. What do you think?
I thought it's very interesting because we're introduced to a lot of planets in this. Like,
we go to a place called Elega, don't we?
Yes, we do. We do, actually. Did you work that out on your 2 viewings?
It popped up on the screen and said it.
Yeah. That's a good way of figuring it out, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well, we start off in, I think it's Ueda, and then we go to Karlak, which is a bit like Sarlacc.
I made that same connection with Karlak.
Yeah.
For a moment, I was like, "Oh, is that maybe how you spell Sarlacc?"
Maybe that's where they come from.
Well, yeah.
And then we go to Elega, and we sort of jump around a few of those, don't we? And then we finally end up in Kofa, I think is where the Jedi Wookiee is. Kofa, something like that.
Oh, where Kelnaka is?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We can mention that. But I just wanted to say, so we see a lot of planets, but it doesn't dwell on, and here's the forest of this planet, here's the desert of this planet, here's the oceans. It's pretty much just on this planet now, and you're just going to see an establishing shot of a couple of buildings, and then we're going straight into the interiors for the rest of the scene.
Yes.
So it's a little claustrophobic, I thought. There's none of the grandness of, like if you think of the space opera, there's none of that kind of sweeping vistas and indulging our interest in alien worlds. It's pretty much, this planet's called blah, blah, blah. Right, back into the scene, go. And I did feel it suffered a little bit from that, but where I did like it was all real sets.
Yes.
Pretty much everything is a tangible, real thing there.
I think they use the volume a bit, don't they?
I read they don't use the volume at all in this series.
Oh, really?
No, I that's not from a primary source. So potentially there is a bit of that going on.
I've just assumed they have to use that in everything for the next 100 years to pay for it or something.
Yeah, maybe to get their money's worth.
People
wasn't expensive.
People on Disney
series.
Plus are like, what the fuck? Why are you using it?
Yeah. Like, well, we're just making, Toy Story. Don't give a shit. Get it in there. So no, if it was there, I think it was restrained. But I did read that it wasn't in it at all, which I think is to the benefit.
Lots of real props, which are very good.
Yes, lots of real props. Everything felt very intimate, very real, very tangible. So I did enjoy that. If, like I say, it was a little claustrophobic at times because we spent all our times in the interiors with barely anything set in these brand new alien planets that we've never seen before. So that was all I wanted to say on that. Just a little comment on that. But
very good.
As we mentioned it,
I agree with you. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you mentioned it.
As we mentioned it, Jedi Wookiee turns out is a pretty cool thing.
Yes.
Not only can he force grab your blaster off you, he can fucking tear it in half and chuck it away at the same time.
And then growl at you, so you go, shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a formidable weapon. I mean,
yes, he's got
one of the only things.
Many skills.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. I can't see how May is going to find his weakness and take him down.
There's always a weakness.
That easily. There's always a weakness, we've been told.
I mean, the weakness for getting rid of Indara was just like, put someone else in trouble, a Jedi will try and help them.
Yeah.
Guard is dropped. Boom.
Boom. Knifed you up.
Yeah.
Like a bitch.
And then
shanked you.
Indeed. And Torben, make you feel bad about his past.
Yeah.
Gone.
Talked him into suicide was his weakness.
Indeed.
Clearly mentally unstable.
One thing, actually, one of my notes that I haven't mentioned yet, which are coming back to Jedi and sort of slight. It's not a complete contradiction with what we've read in the past because it involves two characters actually disputing it within the program.
Yeah.
And it's when I think it's Jackie and Sol are having a conversation, and the sentence starts from Sol, basically, if you don't meditate on the past, and then Jackie finishes it, we're doomed to repeat it.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we've had lots of stuff previously. I say lots of stuff, particularly one I can think of, like keep your mind in the present, don't dwell on the past.
Yeah.
Keep it on, that kind of stuff. It's interesting to hear say, well, I know actually you do. It's not the worst thing to have an awareness of history.
No, definitely not.
Might help you in the future.
Stop making the same mistakes over and over.
Maybe the Sith wouldn't have come to power if the Jedi were still talking that way 100 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting.
But anyway, that's just my opinion. Just my opinion on that.
No, I mean that could be that's just the hypocrisy of their creed, isn't it? Really. I don't see that as a plot hole necessarily. I think that's just
like I say, it was just two characters discussing it. Therefore, they're kind of highlighting it themselves. It's like going back to the earlier thing with attack me.
Yeah, and then get laughed at,
and then everyone in the program goes, "What a fucking idiot!"
At the same time as we're thinking, "What a stupid thing to say."
Yeah,
they're all reacting in the same way. So yeah, it does sort of legitimizes that. that thought, doesn't it?
Indeed. All right, so should we ever think about what might be coming next?
Yeah.
Because she's got a kill list. It's got 4 Jedi Masters on it. She's already killed 50% of them.
Yes.
She's gone toe-to-toe with another one of them.
Yep.
And it kind of ended in a stalemate that wasn't really a stalemate because she managed to get away. I quite like that bit where she gets away, actually. She managed to...
Just chucks a load of dust everywhere.
Looks around, sees that there's dust, and then her sister misses her with a...
real half-hearted attempt
to stun
blast her. Yeah, stun
her. Like I said earlier, like this is moving at quite a pace so far. I do wonder how much they've got left in the tank for the next 75% of the series.
Yeah, it does make you worry we're going to get a mid-season slump quite soon,
You always worry about that sag, don't you?
Oh, it's so saggy in the middle. It's always a worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can't keep the pace up. It that wouldn't be satisfying. We'd need the quieter moments, the character development to take over story and not just action.
Because at some point we've got a red lightsaber user that we need to learn about as well.
We do, and we only get a very brief glimpse of him. And I'm hoping it's not straight up, oh, this guy's a Sith, he's a dark Force user. I hope there's a bit more to it than that. Because
obviously the big question that's going to hang over the series is who is May the Acolyte of?
Yes.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Who is the religious figure, the deep dark behind it?
Yeah. Yeah, so that looks like that's going to be the big mystery. Whether we have to wait the whole series to find that out or whether that's going to become a bit more apparent in the next couple of episodes remains to be seen. But I found the endings of the episodes very abrupt.
Yes.
They just kind of just ended.
Dum.
It's like, just done.
Well, how do you want them to end?
I don't know. But
fade?
Maybe. I know. I noticed it nonetheless, though.
I'd like to fade it down gently.
Yeah, don't just cut me off like that. Just let me go gently.
Wow.
Ease me out of it.
Well, I'm interested to see if they can continue this. I don't know. I've called it diametric episode titles. I don't think diametric's the right use. I don't think that's the right use of that word. But
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
You know where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Lost and found.
Surely, if they've done it for the first two, they're like, yeah, don't worry, we've got the other 6 sorted. We know where we're going with this.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's sort of indicative of the twins? It's sort of two sides of the same title.
You would imagine so.
So I think they're going to stick with that motif.
Indeed.
For the rest of the series.
That's a better word.
I suspect we're going to see some twin meet up, like joining forces at some point. That's my prediction for the rest of it, that the Osha and May will join forces at some point. To what end, I do not know. But I think that's where we're going in terms of that.
May comes good.
Yeah.
Or Osha.
Or, well, like I say, maybe just, I'm trying not to think about it in terms of good and evil because we've been told by, what's her face?
There are other ways.
Leslie Headland that, forget those notions that you've seen before, expect the unexpected. So I'm trying to keep an open mind and hope that it, like I said, it isn't that black and white. It's 2 sides of a coin with the Force. And so I think maybe the twins will kind of maybe introduce that concept somehow and show us that there's a lot of grey areas in Force usage.
Possibly.
Whereas the Jedi are very dogmatic about who can be trained and who can't.
Yeah.
So, but as we know from other things further down the line, that you can be what they call the grey Jedi, like Ahsoka, for example, is not aligned to any faction. She just follows her own moral code.
It's tough, isn't it, though? Because I think if we think about it, May's already killed 2 Jedi. Yeah. Although technically, did she kill the second one? Did she kill Torben, or did he commit suicide?
Well, I mean, she kind of did push him into it and supply him with the poison.
She definitely played a hand in it. And she did definitely kill Indara. So
she did definitely do that. But let's reserve our judgment until we know what she's killed them for. Because if it turns out that these 4 Jedi, when they were stationed on their home planet, did some pretty nasty, horrible stuff, maybe she's justified in it, and therefore, don't think of her as she's killed 2 Jedi, therefore she's the evil one.
Maybe. I have to say one thing, right?
You do.
I have to. Absolutely
you must.
So, if you've read The Light of the Jedi, you may be aware of this. If you haven't read The Light of the Jedi, you may be unaware of this.
Mm-hmm.
But The Light of the Jedi, one of the big crux of it, do you remember we telling you that basically you get about 150 pages in, and it's still telling the same story that it was on page 1?
Yeah.
It's kind of how books work, but you know what I mean. You're still in the same scene.
Okay, right.
I wonder if there's something that's going to be based upon that. So there was basically do you remember me telling you about hyperspace lanes and how the hyperspace lanes are malfunctioning, and ships are coming out of hyperspace, still traveling at hyperspace speed, but they've been ripped into pieces, and therefore there's debris flying through the galaxy at hyperspace, at light speed,
right?
And just basically, if it hits any planets, boom,
right? Okay,
fucking gone. I wonder if they're doing something on that basis, something that might derive from that, because there's a lot of Jedi outposts on those things, and one of the big things in that is Jedi having to make decisions about who they save and who they can't save.
Okay.
So I don't know whether or not that might play a part. Probably won't, but it's worth getting it out there so that in 6 weeks' time I'll be like, I said it,
called it.
Or just forget all the things I say that are wrong, but let's remember this 30 seconds.
Yeah. No, it's a good call. And I think we should definitely expect there'll be bits and bobs taken from those High Republic novels. There almost certainly will be ideas in there.
Quite.
I mean, it'd be foolish not to use all that source material.
Because they'll get battered for it if they don't.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Not by us. Not by us.
No, but we don't care.
We don't read, so...
But the internet will not forgive.
Or forget.
No. So, yeah, it could be. I mean, I think you're right. I think maybe not necessarily the hyperlanes thing, but definitely I think it's going to turn out these Jedi are not as squeaky clean as we thought.
No. I think I think it will come down to something to do with they could have saved someone else. They could have saved them, or they saved someone else, and they didn't, basically.
Yeah.
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 So, which is not an uncommon story, so not a particularly great prediction, but such is life. Such is life.
No. But we need to have May's motives explained. So it's certainly going to go into that.
And if they're May's motives, why is Osha not feel the same way?
Well, there you go. And that's where I think the joining shall be.
Indeed. Right. So, before we knock off and look forward with great excitement towards episode 3 next week, do you have anything else to say?
I think I just my quick summary then, like you, only 2 episodes in, so too early to really tell much, but I certainly didn't feel as horribly about it as some people seem to have done. I think there's been some really harsh criticism of it. I quite enjoyed the episodes. I
have made a point of not seeing any other reviews yet.
You've probably done well because
I've got no time for clickbaity arseholes.
No, fair enough. So I thought this was good. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. I'm excited about where the story's going to go. Trying to keep an open mind about it. Is it perfect? No, definitely not. But I think it's a good start, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Good. I agree. And with that, we shall leave it and say to everyone, thank you for listening. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm about to say Ahsoka again. Hope you're enjoying the Acolyte. And look forward to episode 3. Stefan, good night. I'll speak to you next week.
Yes. Thanks, David. Thanks, listeners. Goodbye.